Hi, it's Eden. I will be solving problem 7b from the exam. So I have some preliminary information. I got this from the lecture video on hyperbolas. I took some of the key information out that is dependent on whether it's a vertical or horizontal axis, which we will solve for in a couple minutes. Alright, so I'm given two vertices, two asymptotes, and the way to solve for the center is to set these two equations equal to each other because the h and the k values are embedded within the asymptote. So I'm going to go ahead and set these equal to each other, solve for x, which will represent my h value, and then solve for y, which will represent my k value. Alright, so let's see. We've got 2/3 x minus 7/3 equals negative 2/3 x plus 1/3. Alright. Plus 2/3 x plus 2/3 x plus 7/3 plus 7/3. So that gives us 4/3 x equals 8/3. 3/4. X equals 24/12 equals 2. Alright, that's my x value, and like I mentioned before, that's going to be my k, not my k, my h value. So we know that this is 2. Okay. Now we're going to take this x value and plug it into one of the original equations to solve for y. So we've got y equals 2/3 times 2 minus 7/3. This equals 4/3 minus 7/3, which equals negative 3/3, which is negative 1. Alright. So our center is 2, negative 1. Alright. So the next thing that we can do with this information is, let's see, we have this asymptote equation that has all of the components besides my a and b value. So before we do that, let's just examine our two vertices and also the center we found. All of the y values are the same, so if you visualize that on the graph, we know that they're all going to be on the same plane, which means it's a horizontal axis. Alright, so that determines what our hyperbola formula looks like, our asymptote formula, and our vertice formula looks like. So let me just fill in those values. So this is going to be x plus 2, and this is going to be y minus 1. You just switch the signs when you plug them in. This is going to be asymptote b over a, not a over b. And vertices, it's not h comma k, it's a comma k. Again, got these from the lecture video. Alright, so now that we know that, we have the full asymptote equation and we can plug in our known values to solve. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's find a first, and then we'll plug into the asymptote formula. Okay, so I'm going to set up a system of equations. I have my two vertices and the formula. So h is 2, and then we have plus a, comma, k is negative 1. And then we also have 2 minus a, comma, negative 1. So the question is, here's my x value, 5, x value number 2, negative 1. The question is, 2 plus what equals 5, and 2 minus what equals negative 1? Well, the answer to both of those questions is 3. 3, alright, and that is my a value. So, a is equal to 3. However, in the final form, this will be a squared. So a squared equals 9. Alright, and then let's see. Okay, now that we've determined a, we can plug into the asymptote formula now that we have all of the missing components except for b. I would just like to mention though that since we have these asymptote formulas and the slope represents b over a. So we can safely assume that b is 2 and a is 3, but we'll plug in anyway just for safety. Okay? Y equals k is -1 plus or minus b, a is 3, x, h is 2. Okay? So looking at this asymptote formula, it does match the one up here, so we know that b is 2. But it will be squared. B squared equals 4. Alright, so now we have everything to write the entire equation for the hyperbola, so let's go ahead and do that. So x plus 2 squared over, that should be a squared, which is 9. I'm writing it that way because it's easier when graphing. Then we have y minus 1 squared over b squared, which is 4. And that should equal 1. And that is the formula for our hyperbola. Thank you.